Welcome to the WireTap Podcast here on our second episode, and we're coming to you live with Alex and Carlos. Go ahead,
What's up,
Carlos.
everybody? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa, mi gente? We ready?
Yes, sir. We're ready. We're ready.
Man, let's kick it off. Let's kick it off. Let's kick it off. We've got the man. Listen, this is just another nonstop week, man. Did you happen to catch the inauguration? You better say yes.
Man.
If you say no, we're ending. Ladies and gentlemen, transmission has ended.
No. So some of us are kind of busy out here, And
Hey, I'm busy too, bro.
Hey, I hear you, but it's man, I feel so bad, because I'm letting you down here because I just didn't watch it. I do have it recorded, and I'm gonna go back and just watch it because you gotta witness history, even if you like it or you don't like it.
Yes.
I think you gotta witness history. Luckily, I have it recorded. I'm just not up to speed, but I'm gonna go back and watch it. I know that Trump didn't want to meet him. They didn't want to do the walk around and show.
They didn't want to do the send off. Yeah,
They didn't want to do anything. He's just a sore loser, and sometimes you gotta lose with dignity.
Say what you want. Say what you want about Hillary Clinton. Let's talk there, and we may have some listeners that may say, "Oh, he's really going to say that." Listen, I'm going to say this because even though I am nowhere near a supporter of Hillary Clinton, let me just say, if you go back to the debate, if you go back to what was that 2016, where Hillary debated former President Trump, and they were sitting there and they threw dirt at each other, and Trump went in pretty and quite hard on Miss Hillary, despite all of that, and still lost to her. That woman, with everything that she could, she shows up at his inauguration because of the respect that she had for the office. And yet this man chose to say, "I'm okay. I don't need it," and sends Vice President Pence, who he should have sent a long time ago, to handle things. And listen, this is not a show where you're going to try to figure out who we vote for politically. I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm an independent, and as independent as it can be. But let me say this. Despite whatever side you're on, no matter how you can criticize, or you may find a way to criticize the inauguration, it was history in the making. It was history in the making. Now, listen, I'm going to be real with you. There were some things that were a little elaborate. Don't get me wrong. If you caught the fireworks show at the end with Katy Perry, it was a little elaborate, towards the end. Huh?
I haven't watched any.
Oh, man, you got nothing? You haven't watched anything?
Nothing.
Oh, my goodness. Listen.
So let Cole hold on.
Yeah.
But I want to share, though, talking about Hillary and whatever. I mean, women should be proud, right? They got a vice president as a female.
Yeah.
They're broken the mold. Now I think it's a matter of time. In a couple of years, we'll probably have the first Madam President, right?
Yeah,
as the main number one. But
yeah, and Republicans, some extremists are saying that it could be Miss Harris here because of Biden's age, that he could pass away.
Yeah, true.
You know?
And then you got, for the Republican side, there's chatter like Nikki Haley. I've heard her speak before, and I haven't heard all her ideas and everything, but what I heard wasn't too bad. Like I said, I'm also consider myself an independent. I'll vote who I think my ideas are more in line at the time. Sometimes it could be Republican, sometimes it could be Democrat, but I'd rather stay with, it's one of the things, and it's true with one of the guys that I heard say, I don't let taxes define my morals, right?
No,
I'm gonna have to
not.
pay a little bit more taxes, but that's not gonna define me as a person to vote one side or the other side. So
that's right.
People need to keep that in mind. Is you can't swear allegiance to just one side. You have to vote with your conscience, right? Vote for what you think and aligns more with your beliefs.
And what's going to be good for our country, right? What's going to be good for our country? What's going to be good for our people? I mean, everything that it entails. But let me tell you, man, it was an inauguration like many. But there were some things in there that I'm not going to lie. Listen, all just props to J-Lo. but I thought J Lo was, you know, doing her thing. But you know, she even threw it out to me, gente, and screamed and said some things in Spanish, which is great because you hardly hear her speak Spanish. But that came out of left field for me. I'm not gonna lie, because you hardly. I mean, do you agree with me? You hardly ever see her represent the culture. I mean, let's just
but
be honest.
there was I saw on her Snap or A-Rod Snap or Instagram that Biden reached out to them and they had like a little powwow back and forth, and she was trying to get the Hispanic people to go out and vote, and they were doing this thing, you know.
I mean,
So
listen, I am not in any kind of way saying she shouldn't have done it. No. Listen, everyone gets their opportunity. Lady Gaga showed up como si fuera una quinceañera. I mean, she had her dress on, she had her chambelán on, and then she had this big, massive bird, which I think was very Hunger Games-esque. She was certainly trying to send a message, and I think her message, Lady Gaga, if you watch it, I think the message she was sending is, you know, if you go back to Hunger Games, that specific bird there.
The phoenix?
The phoenix. Sorry,
yes.
Represented oppression, right, and the freedom and being liberated. And I think that's what the message she was trying to send. And I could be wrong, completely wrong, but that's that one. But my most favorite thing, despite the swearing in, you know, the transition, Bernie in his chair with some documents, like he had so much of a to-do list. Have you caught those memes, by the way, of Bernie Sanders sitting in the crowd? Yes. My favorite is because he looked like he looked like the inauguration was like a to-do list. I mean, honestly, it did. Looks like he's about to drop something off at the post office, and then he had things to do. I don't have time for this. Because this would have been done through an email. It's just much better to do an email. That's really what I think. Do you need to go?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. So yeah, all of that. But my favorite, man, and listen, I have never, and I can say this, I have never, Serge, ever been able to watch an inauguration and be moved to tears. I can't deny. I could tell you all day, Rand, but I'll tell you right now, I was moved to tears where this young lady who was part of the Youth Poets Society, I believe, began to, her name was Amanda Gorman, began to break down this beautiful poem that challenged Americans to leave behind a country that is better than what we have found it to be, right? Leave behind all of that and build upon what you have found. And you know, it brings in a lot of the unification and the uniting. Man, it was fantastic. I can't deny it. Listen, and the country in me, and I think your microphone is muted. The country person in me, the country fan in me, you know, being raised in North Georgia, man, I'll tell you right now, at the end is listening to Garth Brooks do an amazing duo. You gotta go back and watch everything. It was a full day. You had Tom Hanks hosting over by the monuments at the end of the night, just doing performance. I mean, it was fantastic. I hate the fact that the American people did not get a chance. Those who wanted to be there, right, did not get a chance to be a part of history while being there. It was tough. I felt for it, but let me tell you, man, one of the coolest inaugurations because of that young lady. You know, I shouldn't say young.
You know, you know what I wish it would have been a little different, and I didn't get a chance, and I'm gonna go back and watch it, and I wish it would have been a little different when we had COVID because, you know, this whole talks about going back and forth as far as stealing the election, not stealing the election, did the people was fraudulent or not? When Trump was inaugurated, and it wasn't that full compared to other presidents before, where it was like there was a bunch of crowds where they were missing a lot of gaps, and maybe if it would have been different, we would have been able to see how packed you know his inauguration got. That maybe would have been able to see all those people who voted for him and see the crowd really. And I think that it was maybe a little bit robbed from that.
Yeah, no, it was certainly it was tough, man. It was tough to not see our current president transition the transition of power
And we'll
into.
transition to something. I don't mean to cut you off, but
Yeah, man.
sticking with this though is man, I was reading a whole article about the transition of power in the Pentagon and how petty a lot of officials were being. And not even that they were being petty, as they were told they couldn't disclose certain things, and they were binded by that, by the Pentagon officials not being able to disclose a couple things. And then supposedly in some of that chatter afterwards, it's like, hey, look, I'm sorry, I was under strict rules not to disclose certain information. Not that I didn't want. It was like, dude,
Yeah.
is the things that we don't know what's going on behind. It was like, dude,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
man.
we don't know anything really what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah,
I mean, for
yeah,
all we
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like, you know how I feel like it is I feel like it's our company, like any company that you work for, and there's a
Yeah,
lot of bickering back and forth, right? With
yeah,
the
yeah,
powers to
yeah, yeah.
be. But
No, it's true. It's true, man. And that's, I mean, let's go to the pardons. Do you know the way the pardons work?
oh, because he's trying to pardon his kids, or what are you talking about?
Well, no, no, no. When you pardon, and I just recently learned this through some research, and some of our listeners may already be, could be, and probably are a lot smarter than me to know this. But in order for you to pardon someone, you have to list out the crime. I'm going to say that
Mhm.
again. In
Yes.
order for you to pardon someone, you have to list the crime. So why would you put that your kids committed a crime? Why would you put that Giuliani had a crime, right? Of course, he pardoned Bannon, which I think definitely needed to take place. But listen, man, I again, I respect the office no matter who sits in that chair. But let me just say that inauguration was, yes, it was a little bit over the top,
I mean, when
but
you
I think it was a good reminder at every section to bring unity. I mean, he really did. It almost seemed like this was planned out a long time ago, and everything that was brought up, every single little thing, man, was reiterating unification.
well, I mean, when you got, in President Bush and President Obama and President Bill Clinton all talking
Yes.
about it, getting in a little powwow right there, just talking about America's separations and how to bring the country together.
It
Even
was
if
cool.
Trump lost, I mean, I get it, dude. Swallow your pride a little bit, and it's for the better of the country. Show some unification. Show that, hey, look, regardless of what I think that they stole the election or not,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, at this point, we can all move together.
That's right. That's
But
right. We've got to move forward. We've got
I
to
think,
push forward.
yeah, I think we probably spent a little bit too much on the topic, and we can,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things to come, and one of the things that a lot of people have been talking about is the 15-hour wage.
Oh man, the 15-hour minimum wage. Listen, I as a business owner, I'm just going to flat out say that $15 an hour will hurt my business. In other words, whatever I'm getting from the federal government, whether it's PPP money, whether it's Section 324 of a grant that's forgivable or not, what you're going to do is you're going to give me that money and you're going to implement this $15 an hour and you're going to just take it right back out. I mean, honestly, you really haven't helped me. You've
Well, what
actually have
happens?
hindered me.
Yeah, and
Huh?
one of the things also that happens is you give people $15 an hour, but these stores, all they do, or any consumer or that sells a product, all they do is just pass it back to the consumer, right? So they say my product costs $10. Well, now I got to pay my employees 15. Well, guess what? My product is 12.99 now, or
Yeah,
whatever, fourteen
yeah,
ninety nine,
yeah.
and those people are still coming and buying that because they need it. Let's just say toilet paper or whatever, something necessary. Well, all those products are going to go up, and to justify paying people $15 an hour, so you just elevated our cost of living, and those
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
$15 is
uh-huh.
the exact same value if you were making $10 an hour, because it doesn't really
Absolutely.
matter.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, I still got to figure out a way to pay that person $15 an hour. And you've created inflation within my circle. And that's a hard thing, man. It's a hard thing for any business owner. Listen, the Walmarts of the world, they'll survive. They'll figure it out. It's the not Walmarts of the world, right? But here's the thing. Those that are the Walmarts, that who is Walmart, for example, I mean, they will figure it out. Ultimately, I mean, you've got people with 401ks, man. You've got people with 401ks that are fully invested in the Walmart. And all of a sudden, you're going to bring minimum wage in at $15 an hour. That's going to hit some things. There's going to be a domino effect here and there. So, I'm concerned about it. As a business owner, I cannot lie. It's going to hurt. And I'm willing to meet in the middle. I'm not going to lie.
No, listen.
I'm willing to meet in the middle. I mean, minimum wage in the state of Georgia is $7.25.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
McDonald's was always meant to be an entry job.
So yeah, absolutely.
It's not a job that you go into full of career. Now, all power to the people who are doing a career. I'm not knocking. All I'm trying to say, because I think every job is you got to do what you got to do, right? It's essential.
That's right.
But all I'm saying is the smaller, not your manager positions or the guy who's running the store, your small entry jobs are always, that's what they're meant to be, entry jobs. Me working at high school, working at McDonald's, working at Pizza Hut, working as I'm just trying to get some money in my pocket and go about my business, right? It's not really meant for me to full-blown career. Now, get it, there's people that maybe they are looking for that career, and McDonald's has the path that they are able to go and expand and be able to make that much, higher income levels. But for the smaller, like your little cashier, your little line cook, or that's what it's supposed to be, an entry job. They rotate employees, right? So when you're asking McDonald's to give them $15 an hour, but then expect for their hamburgers or the Big Mac to stay at $6 an hour or $6 or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's like, well, when the Big Mac costs $9 and then the fries, and then you're paying $13 for the Big Mac, people are not gonna like it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to hit everybody. And here's the thing, and I know you're not knocking. Here's the thing. I know you're not knocking entry-level workers. I know you're not, because you worked years and years at Pizza Hut and you made it happen. But you understood that this was an entry-level position. You knew that at some point you needed to define a career. You needed to make that career happen and flush out your life that way. No, I know what you're saying, Sergio, and I totally agree. And that's where businesses are going to hurt, where we get into these entry-level jobs, and entry levels at $15. Listen, I am all for figuring out a way that everyone gets an opportunity and that everyone has food on their table and that everyone has a decent place to live. I am all for it, man. I really am. But in that situation, I cannot afford to pay everyone $15 an hour in my organization. I'm just going to be honest with you.
What you're going to do? You're going to have to cut a position, right?
I'm probably going to re-strategize and reorganize and probably put in. I mean, I've already got hybrid job descriptions, which will probably end up doing that. I mean, it'll be multiple responsibilities within a certain position, which is a hybrid job description, in order for you to make that $15. That's what I would do.
Yeah, let me be clear. I wasn't necessarily saying you. I was talking to you, small business owner out there, right? I was like, what are you going to do, right? You're going to cut a position to sprinkle that $5, the $15 you would have paid.
Yeah.
Well, you get five, you get five. But now all three of you got three different little jobs now, right? Yeah. And that's kind of what you just said, just in layman's terms, and that's kind of what I meant is you business owner, you have to face something here, right? Do you cut somebody? Do you struggle to make sure that you can pay someone? I don't know, dude. It's very tough that they're putting these small business owners in.
It's going to stretch us. I'm not going to lie. I mean, think about it. Once again, we're in Georgia. I mean, if you're not familiar and you want to know, I mean, just Google minimum wage in every state. Georgia is at $7.25. The only city that is able to pay $15 an hour is Washington, D.C. But you and I know Washington, D.C. it's hurting in so many ways. But we all know how many of those jobs are being spread out. I mean, Washington, the majority of them are governmental jobs, right? So it's it's a hard decision to make. It's a hard line to walk. And until we have to make that decision, then it's a decision that we'll have to make. So I feel for those business owners that are listening right now. I feel for the worker who is so excited about this opportunity. And I hear you, and I'm listening, and I want you to know I'm taking you into account. But just know this is going to hurt us in more ways than one, and we've got to figure it out. But everyone has a responsibility, Serge. Everyone has a responsibility that we've got to figure it out to take care of our people, to take care of our workers. Because here's the thing, we cannot get to where we're going, and we are not where we are if it was not for a team, if it was not for a group of employees that have got us to where we are at. So I say all of that it is a hard decision, but we'll figure it out, and we have to figure it out for the sake of universal income. So that is my opinion on that when it comes to this minimum wage hike at $15 an hour. I don't know if there's anything else that I could add to it, but that's just me.
No. I just know that some organizations like for example ours it's not gonna get impacted that much because our organization requires a higher level of skill for certain parts of our organization, right? But
Yeah, man. Yeah.
but there's some other entry jobs that you require a smaller level of entry, and just $15 just really now you're looking for that extra person that can bring you more to the table, and you're not going to give opportunity to someone that could potentially don't have those set of skills but can go in there and start learning those set of skills to eventually make more than $15 an hour. But you're not giving them their opportunity that we would have taken, right?
That's
Say
right.
you
That's
come in
right.
and it's like, oh, $12 an hour, you don't have that much experience, but okay, maybe we can groom you, we can teach you, and
Yeah.
then you can
And
get to
get you to that level, and get you
yeah,
to that.
correct.
But the
'Cause
problem is you have capitalists that will never allow people to get to that level no matter how hard they work. And that's where I struggle.
yeah,
That's where I struggle. Because there are people who are not allowing that. Hey, let's just milk our employees as much as we can, and let's put it together with $10 an hour.
yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But that's the hard part is you have
It's
people.
no shoe fits all, right? Or
Yeah, man. Yeah.
the shoe
Yeah.
doesn't fit all. Like it's however you want to say it, but
Yeah. Yeah. If the shoe
there's
fits,
different.
right?
Yeah, there's no shoe fits everyone, right? So I
Yeah,
don't
man.
know. It's
Yeah.
a tough
Yeah.
it's a tough thing, but
So, I mean, at the end of the day, ultimately, we've got to figure it out. And we'd love to hear from you, right? We'd love to hear from you as a listener.
yeah. What's
Where
your
are you
thoughts on
at?
it?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this? How do you feel about it as an employee? If you're a business owner, what are you doing to prepare? I mean, I'll tell you this from where I'm sitting and my employees, the lowest that I pay one of my employees now is $12 an hour. So if I have to hike it, I'll hike it if I need to, and it's not going to hurt as much. But it is going to hurt ultimately because I've got to do it for more than one. So it is going to be something that we'll need to navigate through. We'll see where this goes. He's only been in office for 2 days. The first 100 days, as you know, is a tough 100 days because you got everyone criticizing you. You've got some reversals. And speaking of reversals, we've got an immigration reversal recently that took place under this new administration 2 days ago. Do you know about that? Any of that, Alex?
So I know that he promised a whole lot of stuff for the immigration sector, right? And in there's been plenty of chatter from through the years, and nothing ever really gets done. Little steps here and there, and those are small victories. I know that Trump had a strong stance against immigration, and I know that Biden obviously is looking to reverse a lot of those. And but why don't you fill us out a little bit more details for the people out there that don't really know what's going on?
There is a whole lot that's taken place. I mean, I can't say a whole lot, but
Yeah.
it's pretty significant within 2 days of being in office. I mean, I can't deny that, Alex. There's okay. Let's go for example. The building of the wall completely stopped.
It's a
Completely
waste of
stopped.
money. Waste of money. Let me go because there was memes out there of the people from the Capitol riot that we talked about in the last episode.
Oh man, I can tell you got hype on this one. Go ahead.
No, because that was funny.
Ándale,
No,
anda.
I thought it was funny because they were climbing. It was like, oh look, the what was it? The conservatives, uh, basically made their own point where the wall is mute because they were climbing like a 20-foot wall with like a concrete all the way up the steps or up the side of the thing. So I thought that was a funny meme. It was like, oh look, they saw that walls are pointless. So go ahead.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing: it was a great marketing strategy.
Oh, right? For sure.
It was a great marketing strategy. It spoke to that one who's saying, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's make that happen." And by the way, build it, and make them pay for it. Okay, but they drank the juice, and people drank it, and look what's going on now. We've wasted millions of dollars because somebody had to. I mean, honestly, you're going to have to do it now, because if you don't, you're going to look like a liar. And even though there's other things that you promised that you were going to do when it came to healthcare and things of that nature, and nothing happened, no one is focusing on that. Why? Because that was not at the top of the pyramid, right? The marketing pyramid, the funnel that he used, it was at the top, and that has stopped. So now you've taken away jobs from people who are doing that. I get it. And now we've stopped spending money on that. I am going to say that I did see that they took the DACA program, and it was by an annual basis, where under the Trump administration, it was 1 year. That was a policy that was instituted with really in 2021, this year. We didn't know where DACA was going to go, and I think about that because even though I'm not on DACA, I still feel for my DACA people, right? It's 1 year. 1 year, you spend all that time, you spend all that money, you're keeping up at night. It's anxiety that it builds. Am I going to get this approval or not? What's going to happen? And this is this is where I live. I grew up in this country. What happens now, right? This is my land as much as it is your land.
No, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. And yeah, some, we can go through this whole immigration and debate back and forth, but a lot of people don't understand that if my parents came and you ask anybody, would you do anything for your kids? I'll do anything for my kids. Okay, so what's the difference? Would you move to another country knowing that you would break the law for your kids if your kids were starving and you had no? And they'll probably be like, yeah, okay. So there's we can go back and forth on this all day long. Now, one thing people need to understand is if my parents might have broke the law, let's just say they broke the law, and they come over here, and I came to this country at 3 years old. And not me personally, I'm just talking like if I was.
Yeah.
So if I came in this is all
you're
I know.
Californian, dude.
It's behind there, right there.
All right, sorry. California, man. Yo soy un tlacuache, compadre.
Dude, but listen. No. But what I'm trying to say is this is the country that I've been here since 3 years old, and I'm 21 years old now, or whatever. Yeah. I don't know any other country.
No, that's right. That's right.
I haven't been back to Mexico forever. Since I was 3 years old. Why? Because I can't go, and if I do go, I can't come back. And now you're telling me that you're gonna deport me to a country that I don't have. There's and mucha gente out there, right, that don't know how to speak Spanish, and and imagine going down there and you don't really know how to speak, or you're speaking like butchered. Man, dude, it's tough, man, and I don't know how people can't have compassion towards another human being that's be like, yeah, I understand. We probably need to do something because they feel super American and this is their country, and I feel like it's not fair. It's just not fair. So giving them a path to citizenship, it's the right thing to do. 100%, 100% is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't care who says that it's not, but it is.
Unless you're a criminal, different story.
Different story. I'm saying that people who want to better themselves, want to go to school,
That's right.
Be a member of society, and contribute.
Right? Don't be a strain on the economy. Uplift the economy. Help your fellow brother. Right? Yeah. No. I get it.
If I'm breaking the law and everything, dude, you got to go. I mean,
you got to go. I don't care where you're from. You got to go. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean, we wish we could do that with some Americans, right? You got to go.
You gotta go. But see, and here's and some may say this is so tedious on the Biden plan, and I promise we got to get off on this because we've got some other topics to cover. But on one of the Biden's plan, the goal is to change the word from alien to non-citizen.
Yeah, and I think
just the lingo, just the language, right? Just the language. This guy, I get it. And again, it's about Listen, I struggle with this. I struggle with this. Me and you have had this conversation so many times, but it's just that, right? The identification, you're belittling someone. Look, you're just not a citizen. Let's just call you a non-citizen versus an alien. Like an alien. And this has been for years, Alex. This has
You
been
come from
for
the
years.
galaxy.
Listen, yeah,
Maybe
yeah, and listen.
look, listen. Maybe we do need some little green aliens coming down, so the world could just unify. We have one common enemy instead of fighting each other.
That could be the only way we could fix this problem. But listen, I say this at myself because I came to this country. My parents brought me to this country as a child, as a very young child. I'm an immigrant, right? I'm an immigrant. I remember looking at the paperwork as a kid and reading alien. Oh, okay. And I had to identify, right?
As an alien.
As an alien, as an illegal alien, as a legal alien. Now I'm a citizen, right? What a hard road it was, but it took place and I'm grateful. But I'm going to tell you right now, it was a struggle. It wasn't easy. So a lot of our fellow men, our fellow Americans think that when we start talking about this pathway to citizenship, it's a transactional piece, right? It's I pay this amount of money and I automatically become a U.S. citizen. No. It has nothing to do with that, right? It's transactional, all right, but multiple transactions. And some you have to involve hundreds and hundreds of at times, depending on what your situation is. It could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, let's just be honest, depending on what your status is, depending on what your case is, and then you got to pay a lawyer, you got to pay fees. Those fees, they're so expensive. And then you've got the fees on top of what you got to pay this guy to translate what this document says. I mean, let's be honest. It's ridiculous, Alex. I mean, some have the ability. Here's what really gets me, and I'm gonna try to break off of this. Because I know, and the reason I'm so passionate is because I feel there's pain. There are some who meet the eligibility requirements. Listen now. There are some who meet the eligibility requirements, but they cannot afford to pay those fees. They cannot afford to become a resident. They cannot afford to become a citizen because they just can't afford it. Eligibility, out the door. They're in. They've been here maybe longer than you, right?
Yeah.
They just can't afford it. So at some point, in some kind of conversation, right? At some point, well, are we creating a different kind of wall? Are we creating a different kind of barrier? Well, we'll create a pathway to citizenship. It's just going to cost them. What's that sound like, right? So listen, that's just me. That's the kind of reform I'm talking about. That's the kind of reform that's in Biden's bill when it comes to immigration. And listen, man, I'm blown away by 2 days in office. I can't deny it.
No, and I also want to say I also come from immigrant parents, right? My mom struggled came the right way, and still you got to do what you got to do. And my mom worked 2 jobs, give us the best opportunity. Yeah, give us the best opportunities that we could, and it's just that's what we do. We just most of us are hardworking people, and maybe some of us do deserve a shot to be able to show what we have, right? And not be hiding in fear and contribute, because I can guarantee you none of us want to be. We want to be able to go get that house, go get a car, go live without fear. And if I'm not a criminal, I should have a way to, you know get my citizenship, or not, or resident, or whatever you want, permanent resident. And I think they deserve a spot. And until you put yourself in those shoes, I don't think people should judge other people, and just show empathy and kind of try to be understanding. And if they broke the law, they broke the law. Look, nobody's saying, hey, pardon those people, right?
Right.
We're not saying, but it has to be justified.
Yeah.
The right punishment for the right crime.
Someone said to me, and I have to end with this because again, we're talking a little bit about this too much, but someone said to me, I just don't know what it's like to be an illegal alien in this country. And I said, I'm grateful that you would ask that question. But I said, well, think about COVID, right? You think about COVID, you go to these stores, you go out and you go to travel, whatever it is, right? everyone is afraid to go do anything right now because they're afraid of this virus, right? And I'm not saying it's not a real virus because I've had COVID, so I get it. But everyone's afraid to go out because they're afraid that they may catch this. And people begin to live with fear. Over the past 365 days, we have millions of Americans, we have millions of individuals around this world that are afraid to leave their home because they live in fear that they could catch this virus. And some may say, well, Carlos, you're about to, this comparison might be a little too much, but let me just say this. Some of our neighbors, I'll just go there. Some of our neighbors, some of our non-citizens feel like that every single day. Yeah. Every single day they live in fear that things may change. Their world may be flipped over, all because they want something better for themselves. Think about that. And that was my response. But it's what it is. That's exactly
it's a hard road, and I'm sure we'll touch on that later. I mean, in that different episodes, or maybe some other, when we have some guests, we'll see what their experiences are, and maybe they can speak firsthand of some of the things they've gone through. But we like to talk about financing, all because this show, we're very passionate about what's going on in the market.
Dinero.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jello, dinero. Yeah.
So I know that Intel and IBM took a slum, right? Because of the Dow took.
Did you catch that? Did you at least catch that today?
Yeah. I mean, but you know what? I'm very hopeful in the market, and these are all opportunities to buy if that's what you're gonna invest in, IBM and Intel, right? Because the future is only gonna get more and more with technology. So even though it took a slum, if you have the capital, I think it's a buy.
Yeah. Listen, I'm struggling with when you say it's a buy, only because I mean that was a big drop today. That was a big drop when it comes to Intel and I mean and IBM, right? Listen.
No, let me clarify really quick.
Yeah.
When I say it's a buy, I mean strategically, right? You gotta let it keep falling and make sure that you pick it right before it picks back up, because I believe that eventually it'll rebound.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying go buy only right now and just go buy it, right? That's not what I'm trying to say. Just to clarify for somebody
buy.
Alex said go buy, right?
And then they lost $40.
They go and buy and then they lost money, right? No, that's not what I'm saying.
Ese auto no sabe, man. Ya perdí mi fe.
Nah.
Yeah.
For real, right? So what I'm trying to say is like,
for real, huh? Yeah.
Dang, dude, like
it's true.
Do your research. But if you're already invested in IBM and Intel, maybe you're looking at, oh, this is a bargain for me. Let me invest a little bit more. Let's see how much I can get it on the dip.
Yeah. You just got to watch the dip, right? Because if your dip gets dipper, then you've got a bigger problem. That's why you got to study the market. You got to know your numbers. You got to know the company. You got to stay in tune with what's going on. You got to watch those upward wedges. You got to watch those downward wedges. I mean, it's homework, man. It really is.
Oh, dude, is it homework?
It is, and you know this. We've talked about this.
So I one of the things that I saw was, and it's so true, is anybody can get that 80% good. You can get to that 80% good, but getting that rest of that 20% and becoming an expert.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness, the road is so hard.
Yeah. I know. Believe me. I don't have my certification. I'm like, maybe I should go for it. But I mean, honestly, it takes a lot of work to get there. But here's my struggle with IBM and Intel, and I don't know your opinion on this, Alex, but I wonder if this is taking place. I mean, you've got competitors. I mean, there's no lie. You got Oracle. Oracle's playing this. I mean, you've got the cloud. I mean, there's a whole lot of, the market is saturated when it comes to tech. But I wonder, is it, and this is just me posing a question, right? Because there's so many unknowns in all of this. Is it that maybe IBM International Business Machines, right? I think it's International Business Machines. Intel have just wore out their welcome. Have others come in, have other tech platforms, have other tech companies come in and just said, hey,
they come with innovation.
I
was
we
going,
got it.
So I was talking to a customer and they were referencing because I work in my professional is a consultant for security, right? And without going too much into detail, but
we can't talk about that. It's private.
But eventually,
it's classified G14 information, ladies and gentlemen.
Nah, but it's we were discussing a couple of things, and one of the things, the particular product that they had, and they were saying, oh, why do we have this and everything? And it's like, well, it's not that you don't have a bad product. It's not. It's like it's good for what it's intended for, but there's just other platforms out there that are innovating, that they're catching the eye. They're more easier for the consumer, and dude, they're taking off. So
they're taking over.
Yeah, and those companies that have been a dinosaur, they're slowly losing their market value out in the world because
of innovation.
Is not there.
Yes,
it's not there. So if you're investing in your money and your dollars in innovation, you're gonna take over those other platforms that are not. And when it's too late for them to catch up once they realize it. To be honest.
Oh, it is. It is, because once you try to catch up, think about the progress the other guy has already made. I mean, look, I sit here in a garage, right? I sit here in a garage intentionally for a variety of reasons, and I've got 3 offices, but I sit in a garage here because it's a reminder for me. Let's go back to Amazon, right? Let's go back to Amazon. Jeff Bezos, who started Amazon, in a garage, right? So there's opportunity in the world that we live in. The American dream is alive, but you got to stay on top of your game. You got to stay innovative. What's your value proposition? That you just offer software? Really? That's it? There's got to be more to it. And that's where I think, or that's what I think is happening to Intel and IBM. I hope they show up with different numbers. Yeah.
There's other companies like Arrow and something. There are software companies, but they're innovating. They're keeping up with the market. They're advertising, and they're getting.
And they're making money.
And they're making waves. So it's like, watch out. And even though the market took a hit, man, I'm sitting here just because I was wondering how bad my portfolio was.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. I actually had all the ones that I'm invested in. They actually did very well. So
yeah, don't touch that crypto yet.
Hey, man, maybe buy a little bit here and there. Who knows? I mean, like I said, dude, is money willing to lose, right? So
yeah, and that's how you got to think about it, right? I mean, are you in it for the long haul? Are you in it for that, wham, bam, thank you, officer? I get it. I totally get it. But when we see this today, there's certainly a lack of innovation. And I think it's making room for some new guys to come into the market, right? Some new things to come into play.
And staying with the same kind of topic, I'm going to jump over one, and then
of course you're going to go there.
We'll rebound back to it because I want to talk about Lucid Motors and the deal.
The deal.
Yeah, because I saw that you put on your notes here.
I did.
A lot of people saying don't invest in CCIV.
Don't wait. Just wait a little. Yeah. Just wait.
But you know what? Too late. I had already.
I know.
Listen. I already been invested in it, and actually, you say that, but I had a 25.49% increase gain for as a change of today and from yesterday. I mean, today's gains, it was 25.49.
Well, I think that's just talk. I think that jump has been people just talking. The rumors, right? The rumor mill is all over the place. Yes, it's a strong bill. Yeah, it is.
And it's okay. And guess what? If I end up losing that, that's fine too. I got a little bit of a stop limit order. Just a little bit below from what I bought it. So even if it drops, it'll automatically sell before I lose good substantial value, right? But man, it's gaining. I mean, it's getting traction. So I don't know. I think you do your homework, go with your gut, and if it could be a buy or it could just be wait, like you said.
No, but here's the thing, Alex, is you can say that about anything. right? I remember back in, what, 2000, 2000? Is it 2000? Can I say 2000? Back in 2000, 20 years ago, or maybe 2001, we were debating should we purchase Sirius satellite radio, right? And I told you, hey, I think Sirius is the future of radio, right? Because Pandora wasn't really hitting those numbers. And Pandora was so, oh my gosh, you couldn't pick what you wanted. You had to listen to what they gave you. Sometimes they gave you the bad genre. Then you had to listen to the commercials. I just didn't see potential in Pandora. So I went in on Sirius, and then they went through that merger and they've had a hard time paying that off. And then, of course, I still made money on Sirius. Don't get me wrong. I made some decent money on Sirius when I bought back in 2000 or 2001, held it for, goodness gracious, for a long time. But that's the thing. In any ticker, in any company, you can buy now, you can buy later, but at some point, you're not going to know where it's going to go if you don't do your homework and you don't buy now and run into that risk, right? What's your risk category? You know, what's the aversion? How are you going to do it?
I remember back around that time, the same time, probably in the 2000s, and you could probably go back. Charter was almost worth a penny stock because
Who was that?
They were Charter. Like
Charter Communications.
I try to see. I just pulled up the chart in E-Trade. Only lets me. I think it's only going to 2011, which was around $30. But dude, I remember when we were in high school and I was trying to buy it so hard, but I didn't understand the market. This is what you gotta educate yourself, right?
Yeah.
I didn't understand how you buy pennies.
What's the ticker on Charter? My bad. What's the ticker?
CHTR. CHTR. So back in the days around
CHPR?
So Charlie, Henry, Tango, Robert.
Got it.
Okay. So back in the day, in around the 2000s, I remember this, or even earlier than that. But it had to be around the 2000s to 2004 range, and it was a penny stock. And I wasn't able to buy a penny stock because I didn't understand that E-Trade does. You had to put a limit order. You had to put it good for the day, and it may go into tomorrow, but eventually it'll buy. I was trying to buy 1,000 shares, of just to see what happened, and I gave up. I gave up because like my order wouldn't go through because I tried to do market, and it would go through, and I stopped.
Yeah.
Now, and I was going for the long haul. That was the same time you were looking to buy Siri, and look at it now. It's at $646 when it was pennies. So for every penny, potentially you could have got $646.
Yeah, man.
And it's just I didn't understand the market, so that's why it's very important to educate yourself. Know what you're doing, because you can lose in opportunities like this. And I could have bought, but honestly, at that point, I just put it away and never look back. And that's the way you got to look at it. Never look back. Missed it. You could have invested 1,000 or more, and you could have kept buying if you saw it. I mean, you could have ride the wave, right?
Yeah. But here's the thing: everyone wants to be the next Tesla, right? Everyone wants to be the next Alibaba. Everyone wants to be the next AliExpress, right? Everyone wants to be the next Amazon, and I get it, and we should have those type of goals. But when it comes to investing, that's just the reality of things. You can either buy now or buy later or just die, right? If I have to say that word, meaning like when I say die, I mean just give up on it. So you can buy now, you can buy later, but at some point, if that's what you want to do, jump on it. So Alex, I congratulate you for jumping on it. I'm going to hold on a little bit. I am a Lucid Motors fan. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been doing more of this when it comes to
you're trying to get to the right to see what the right ticker is going to be, right? Like I think it's LEV or something. They're talking about, but who knows?
And I also
speculation right now. Everything.
Yeah. Absolutely. And hopefully it's we're not overvaluing this particular trade. But when it comes to electric vehicles, I think it is the future. I think it's not something that's going to be. It's going to be more popular in the next 10 years. I just don't see us getting to the Jetsons yet, right? So at some point, you've got to make the decision. I like I mentioned in the last episode, I struggle with the batteries. I struggle with charging stations. They're very rare. So you have to plan your trip accordingly when it comes to charging stations, where you're going to go, where they're at. Do they work on mine? Do they not work on mine? Look, I get it. But at some point, we've got to make the decision if we're going to do that or not. So all
like
power
right
to
now,
you, for sure.
it's like right now. It's like let me see if it'll focus.
There it is.
I'm looking at all these companies where I'm doing research on nickel, right? Because I know that Tesla's trying to get nickel, and they're by the year 2025, they're looking at. Yeah, so I'm looking at what companies are good to invest in, what companies are looking expanding, which have a good dividends or have a strong revenue source. That, hey, out of 5 companies that have potentials for me that I saw that I can invest in, one is a little bit high, right? It's around the 68. The rest of them are 17, small cap, that maybe you throw a couple $100 into them and see, who knows, because
and see what happens.
Maybe one of them, like Valve, right, is VALE, right? They could probably don't have the resources to hold the whole contract for Tesla.
All that cash flow.
So maybe Tesla needs to do them and do somebody else, but it's investing in all these companies, and it as the EV rest of the world, right? The General Motors, the Volkswagens, this new Lucid, the Neo, all these other new companies.
That's who I've been watching. I've been watching Neo. I mean, have you seen their ticker? Have you seen what the graphs are telling you? I mean, at some point they were under $5, and this was like back in 2019, dude. It's again, it's the future. I get it. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, dude, I'm taking gambles here. I bought Neo around $34. It's at $61.95. So, I mean, I already made twice.
You're not upside down on it. No, you're not upside down on it, and that's key, right? That is key. Is that, I mean, you have to do your research. And here's the thing: we talk about these electric vehicles, we talk about these companies, and we talk about investing. Listen, I've said this before, and I'll say it again: do not invest in something you don't understand. Just because everyone's doing it does not mean you need to jump into it, right? Because if you don't understand it and you don't get it and you're not passionate about it, then it's never going to happen.
And if you do jump in it, just make sure that you're willing to lose everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's been play money at that point, right?
Correct. Because I don't want to discourage anybody from, well, everybody's talking about it, and just because I didn't understand it, I didn't want to catch the train. Okay, that's a valid point. If you want to catch the train, that's fine. But just know that if you didn't do your homework, you didn't have passion on it, potentially you can lose it all. Don't be putting your mortgage or your rent money in there, right?
Yeah. Be smart. Yeah.
Maybe you're putting your Longhorns money that you already knew was going to be gone. That $60, $70 meal with you and your girlfriend, wife, or your kid, whatever, right? That's the way you treat it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think you'll be good at that point.
Yeah.
No. On that.
No. I agree. And we talk about 2 cents. Speaking of 2 cents, I don't know. I just figured I'd make that up. But speaking of 2 cents, did you hear? Are you watching this, man? Apparently, they're talking that Kim Kardashian's divorce. The latest with all of this. This is where we talk a little bit about gossip. If we have any ladies listening, because this is predominantly male, and I get it. Our viewers, our listeners could be predominantly male. But ladies, if you're listening, we like to keep up with the gossip. We like to keep up with the modern day culture. And we're noticing and we're reading that the Kardashians, did you see that they thanked their crew with $300,000 Rolexes?
They faked it?
Did you see that? Huh?
No. But I'm watching it.
They gave their crew $300,000 Rolexes. I mean, they're showing their appreciation. It's been years, right, that these people are there filming day and night. I'm sure there's a level of sacrifice there. But what they're saying is that possibly on the next coming episode that we may see their divorce become and be on live TV, man. And that's just sad, man. I feel for them. As you know, I'm a
big time fan.
KUWTK, baby. I am. Yeah, man. I am.
I think people that
Guilty as
expose, I mean,
charged.
it's so hard to keep yourself from. I don't
Only
know.
because they're fantastic marketers. Anyway.
No. But I think being in the spotlight, like, man, it's got to be so tough, right?
Yeah.
It's trying to hold your marriage together, especially when both of them are so strong in the business sector, and then their influence in the world is because that's what they are, right? I mean, they're
Yeah.
huge. You like them or not, doesn't matter. They're still huge.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But
And whether they're on TV or not, they'll remain to have that influence. I mean, they'll keep that influence. Of course, they'll find their way in
maybe,
creeping in. I have a feeling they'll creep back in different kind of ways. Maybe a spinoff, maybe something different, maybe creating some hype later on down the road. Once your kids are a little older and they figure some things out, they could show back up. I don't know, but that's what's going on right now.
Maybe I'll get to feel one day all this mental stuff that they go through when they get to that level, right? Maybe I'll get to that level and I'll let you know.
Maybe. Yeah, yeah, Alex, let me know how that goes and
maybe we'll get there together. So maybe we'll come out together.
I'm telling you, but I can imagine, man.
Listeners, let's get there together. Let's become wealthy together.
Let's get there together. I mean, you got to think about it, man. These people are, I mean, you can't even go on vacation. And you see some of those pictures, right? The mental stress. You can't even have some time to yourself. Some people may say, I'm okay with it. But imagine having a bad day and all of a sudden you've got a camera and then 2 and then 3 and then 12 and then 24 and then 36 and you're having a bad day and you've got kids screaming in the background and you're trying to load everybody up and you've got people screaming, Cam. Listen, that's where I would turn around and say, ladies and gentlemen, I will answer your questions. I'll take your pictures, but I've got to get my kids in this car. I've got to get my kids. This is what matters right now, right? And in those moments, man, I don't think they're that calm, to be quite honest with you, man. And that's what I think about, the mental stress, the strain, right?
It's because sometimes if you think about it, there's maybe times where you want to be that person where it's like, hey, guys, not right now. But one person, there was another person that was like also in the spotlight, and he said, The Rock, I think it's The Rock. He's like, I always take my time out because that's the impression that person's gonna have for me forever. Doesn't matter what they saw in the movies, what they saw in my personal, how well of a human being I am. They're always gonna take that one interaction that they physically had with me. So I always try to make sure that I respond with the right attitude and just give them the time of day. And even if I'm having a bad day, and then once I get in the car, I'm in my and go on about my day. But I try to have that positive attitude because that's the one thing I'm gonna leave behind with that one person. So I think that's.
I think that's great. No, and I think that's very valid, man. I think so, and I think that happens. And some people may say, "I'll take that house, I'll take those cars, I'll take that money for the sake of all of that." We say that, but we don't know, right? Until we're there, until we're in that limelight.
It depends, right? If you give me the money and all the cars and everything with my current life, and not put in their shoes, all day long.
Oh, absolutely, right? Until you got to get into all the mess, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're telling me put in their, I don't really know what they're going through, what the kind of stress. Who knows if they're on whatever? So it's hard to just jump into that position. But hey, I probably would take it. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Hey, listen, I don't know. I don't know either. I don't know what position I'd be in. I don't know what I would do if I was in that position, to be quite honest with you. I don't know. I think I'd have fun with it. I'm a pretty fun kind of guy, but I don't know what it would look like if every day I woke up and here I go. I got to put on this face for this camera crew, right? So the world is seeing, and they may not see who they really want to see, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't talking about like
You're talking about the luxury stuff and the benefits.
No. I mean, I'm talking about everything, but from a different person, not them, right? I'm not talking about being filmed every single day because that's but put me in Warren Buffett's shoes or somebody that's a businessman.
Come on,
maybe Warren. Or Jeff Bezos. What is he going through?
Oh, he went through that divorce. Oh,
it doesn't matter. He's got himself a leather hottie. So I mean, it's. Man's up.
He got him, ladies and gentlemen. That is the quote for the day. He got himself another hottie, and that's our show.
No. Actually,
I'm kidding. Let's talk about we talked about highlighting a small business, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you clicked on it? Have you clicked on it? Have you been there?
Yeah, El Rey del Taco.
Oh my gosh. El Rey del Taco, donde los tacos son tacos, right? They're located in Norcross, Georgia, right down Buford Highway. If you're from Georgia and you are from Georgia, you know what Buford Highway is. And Buford Highway has a variety of cuisines to offer. If you're ever wanting to be spontaneous, you go down this road, you can find all kinds of cuisine. But my people, if you're not from Georgia and you ever come to ATL, call us, look us up. We'll take you to El Rey del Taco.
I don't know if we'll take them, but we'll direct them to the top.
I might take you. I love having food with people I don't know. I don't mind it. Let's just wear a mask until then. But I will say that these guys, let me tell you, they have figured it out. They have figured out good food. They've figured out fantastic customer service. Alex, let me just say how fast that food comes out. Oh, you have? No. Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
I've been there many. I won't say many times, but I've been
many a times. I've had their tacos. They've been fantastic.
Fantastic, sir. Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know. They're good. Yeah, I mean, they are great tacos. And you know what? You know, sometimes some of these restaurants have gotten so laid back with this whole COVID thing that, you know, some restaurants that I've been into recently, they just could care less, man. And these guys are doing the best that they can. They've got a system that is in place. These guys, I've got to highlight them. We salute you to Business Owner of the Week, El Rey del Taco ATL. Yes, sir.
And if you happen to go to it, it's if you happen to go to it, just Google it. It'll come right up. El Rey del Taco.
And that's El Rey, R-E-Y, Taco. That means the king, ATL. the king taco of ATL. And I think they are the king, man. I'm going to be honest with you.
I was just going to say, if you happen to go, just let them know that you heard it from the WireTap podcast.
Oh, man.
Let them know.
And we won't get nothing for it. Yeah, let them know, but we won't get nothing. Let them know.
Nothing. This is not a paid advertisement. I wish it was, but it's not. Just tell them we sent you.
Tell them we sent you. So today we highlight that. And before we head out, before we take off, Alex, have you heard? We talked last week about one of my favorite artists. Have you heard the new? You heard the new? Oh, you have.
Yeah. I definitely heard it. There's some new songs out there, and this is definitely one that was released, actually yesterday. And I mean, Ozuna is like one of my favorite artists out there. It's one of many, right? But I really like his music.
Hang on, do you hear it? Hang on, do you hear it?
Good. Oh, you hear it? Copyright us though. Yeah, no, it's a great song. It's a good song.
I'm gonna listen to a little bit more. Here we go, guys.
No, cut it.
All right. Yeah.
We don't want to get copyrighted.
There might be little ears listening. But listen, man.
Right, and they're going strong in the music.
Those guys weren't talking. You know that, right?
No. I didn't know if they had beef. I don't.
Yeah, there was some beef there. I don't know what happened. I don't know the way that flows. You'll probably edit this later and put a little bit of the song in there. But at some point, there was some beef because of what Anuel said about Ozuna, who did a video. Those of you that may know about this
video.
Let's
not.
Yeah. So there was some beef there, and all of a sudden they're back, and now they've done they've released multiple. It could be a setup. It could be this, this game for publicity, a publicity stunt. I don't know. We never know nowadays, right? But listen, I think these guys, this duo is fantastic. I'm sold on Ozuna, but I can also be honest and say that, when it comes to Sesh, he is fantastic, man. What a brilliant artist. I've heard some of the things. Yeah. I've heard some fantastic things. So, not only are we highlighting small businesses, but we're also highlighting big business, right? When it comes to music and the culture. And I'm grateful that these guys have put out some new stuff, because some of the old stuff was getting old, and it's time for
on the next episode, man. No, but I wanted to share a story, man, and I think it was funny. And I was just thinking about it the other day. I was like, oh, you know what? We should come up with one of the stories that, and maybe we take a little segment and just kind of show our listeners of things we've heard or might have happened to us. And I can't wait to share it. Keep you guys tuned in to the next episode. And
There's something I need to know
yeah,
about.
nah, 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 nah. It's just a funny like your first experience as a child when you watch a horror film and just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
experience and the traumatized that I had,
You
and I
probably
thought it
La
was funny.
Llorona, huh? La Llorona, is that what
No,
it
no,
is?
no. It was some, no. We'll keep. It wasn't La Llorona. I get that, but um, is it
Ah.
something else? We'll see. We'll see. Just keep tuning in for next episode on that.
And before we head out, we always like to share a little bit of a spiritual vitamin, despite what we've talked about. You know, in our conversations, there's highs and there's lows, and you're probably going through some highs and some lows. But we always want to leave you with something. And today, I want to reflect on the Miss Amanda's poem. I want to reflect on that. Not quote her poem, even though it was fantastic. I'd love to read it to you. Go out and read it. I thought about reading it to you so everyone could hear it. But if there's something I could say, man, I'd say, and there's a quote out there, and I truly, it's from the Fearless Soul. It's from the Fearless Soul, and it says, "I believe, and therefore anything is possible." And I believe that anything is possible as long as we put our mind to it, whether it's in finance, whether it's in our personal life. My name is Carlos.
Before we head out,
Le
is it?
regaste.
No, 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 dude. I really want to say is like
Go ahead, go ahead.
if you enjoy these podcasts, go ahead and hit that smash like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to us, and hit that bell so you're in tune when we drop these episodes. We're
Yeah,
gonna try to stay consistent. We're still
drop them.
talking about what
They're
days
hot.
we're dropping, but just make sure you support us and we can keep going. Again, we're not getting paid or anything to do this. It's just
No,
we
no, no.
figured we share it and we like talking, so here we are. So show some support, share it with your friends and family, and just share it.
And as we wrap this episode, I'm Carlos.
This is Alex.